So we've already talked about Leicestershire County Council and their reform-led administration attempts now to try and find a way, I believe, to try and create some sort of rule or law where they can basically do away with any progressive pride flags, basically any flags they do not like. They can just banish to the dustbin and say we never have to fly that flag ever again. And I think that is generally what they are trying to do. And honestly, it is the biggest culture war virtue signal I can possibly see. It is a waste of council time. Quite frankly, who cares what flags they fly? I think it is a good show of support from councils who do have members of, I don't know, in Leicestershire, we saw, from the trans community, from the LGBTQ community, the Windrush flag, the disability flag that they wanted to fly as well. What is so wrong with flying those flags? There's just, again, I look at these culture war stuff and I just go, who cares? Just fly the flag, you know? As always, these culture war issues, they rot people's minds on the right, where they just lose any sense of reality when it comes to it. And there's no argument that seems to be able to dent their brains. However, they have just had another major meltdown because I think this is another move by Reform UK, especially in Warwickshire, where this 18-year-old now is in charge of a 400 million pound budget and 5,000 council staff to try and essentially prove that he's leadership material. He's now trying to pick a fight with the council executive over a pride flag. Honestly, this is once again just showing you Reform UK completely incompetent, no idea what they're doing, only involved in culture war stuff. And again, let's say you remove the pride flag permanently. What does this actually achieve? It achieves nothing in the long run whatsoever. Like, it just means you aren't gonna fly that flag. Is that it? Is that it? Because as always, culture war nonsense rots these people's brains, and they put forward stuff like this, which they apparently really, really care about. But anyway, we'll get into this because I think this is an audition for this 18-year-old to try and take full control of Warwickshire Council. So we'll see, and we'll definitely be keeping an eye on what happens here. But make no mistake, this is an attempt to pick fights with civil servants on purpose, and he's being backed not only by Nigel Farage, but by Zia Yusuf as well. Coincidence? I think not. So, anyway, let's get into this. So, before we do, please do remember to click the like and share button. If you want to help support the channel another way, there's the Patreon page, there's the Buy Me Coffee link where you can well buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, there's the YouTube membership button down below as well. So, thank you very much to all those people who do help support the channel that way. And of course, you can always just click the like and share button. So, let's crack on then into this. This coming from the BBC. With Reform's pride flag removal request vetoed by council boss. So, Reform UK has accused Warwickshire County Council chief executive of a coup d'etat in a row now over removing the Progress pride flag. Zia Yusuf, head of Reform's Department for Government Efficiency, made the claim after Monica Fogarty refused to remove the flag before the end of Pride Month from outside the council's Shire Hall headquarters in Warwick. Again, Good for her for doing that, to be honest. Good for her. The acting, of course, Reform Warwickshire group leader, George Finch, wrote to the council's chief executive asking for the flag, which includes the colours of the trans rights movement and traditional rainbow colours, to be removed. But the chief executive refused the request, stating in an email response to Finch that she was responsible for such decisions. Again, glad, to be honest, that she is. Very, very glad, to be honest, that she is. And this is it. You can see you've got the St. George Cross there, you've got the Pride Progress flag there, and they've even got, because it was Armed Forces Day, probably when this was taken not too long ago, most towns have had an Armed Forces Day. My own hometown has had one as well. There it is. Why is this combination of flags, or just one flag in particular, bad to be flown? Again, I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. Like, why put so much effort into this? I don't understand it. So Finch, of course, made the request, and this is where I think this is all about. This is all about, I think, trying to cement himself as a leader. And I think he is trying to make himself, or put himself in that position, by saying that. He even did an interview in the Telegraph recently where he said, "Oh yes, I'm taking on the woke blob." So make no mistake, all this hullabaloo that they are trying to drum up is so he can become leader. And having an 18-year-old in charge of the council, 18 going on 19-year-old, yeah, sure sounds like nothing absolutely could go wrong with that, right? Anyway, so back to this. Miss Fogarty went on to say, "I'm afraid I will not be taking the action you are requesting," adding that she saw no reason to diverge with the council's policy on flying the flag annually during Pride Month. She said the council does not have a formal policy around decision-making on flying flags, suggesting that leader should now look to the council to vote on one should one wish to be introduced. Nigel Farage, leader of Reform UK, said on Twitter that this unelected bureaucrat thinks she knows better than most people. Perhaps Ms. Monica Fogarty should now look for a new job. He said that his party would now, quote, fight back and fight hard. Again, something that, I don't know, probably would not come up in an employment tribunal if they tried to, I don't know, get rid of her. Just on this. But there you go. Miss Fogarty's view now has been backed by the Green Party in Warwickshire, with the group leader, Jonathan Clive, saying leaders, let alone interim leaders, cannot, of course, make a decision just on a whim of what they ate for breakfast that morning. That's what dictatorships are made of. Mr. Yusuf then wanted to accuse Miss Fogarty of acting like the monarch of Warwickshire, and, of course, a subversion of democracy. I don't see how flying a pride flag is a subversion of democracy. Anyway, following the local council elections back in May, Yusuf said that reform-controlled English councils will move at speed to resolve that the only flags permitted to be flown on its buildings will, of course, be Union Jacks and St. George's flags. Reform, of course, does not have overall control of Warwickshire, though. It is not the largest party. The Progress flag has now, of course, been removed from Shire Hall following the end of Pride Month. But if I were her, I would have flown this for an extra week. I would have replied. I would just been absolutely resplendent in my response, just going, sorry, but due to your request on this, I am deciding that the council will fly this flag for an extra month, maybe even permanently, dare I say. That's what I would have done. That's what I would have done. And to be honest, I would have probably been fired if I'd probably done that. But that's what I would have done. Back to this. So both, of course, Councillor Finch and Miss Fogarty have, of course, been approached by the BBC for comment. The reform group leader is, of course, expected to be chosen by the party in the coming days, with a formal appointment now as council leader to take place in a meeting of the first full council meeting of July the 22nd. So we haven't got long to see who is going to be elected. Is this enough for him to be catapulted into the leadership role? I think he's angling for it. I think he is absolutely angling for it, because he put out a statement saying, "Oh, you need to judge me not by my words, but by my actions." That are what? You haven't got any policy other than you tried to get a pride flag taken down. That is, I'm sorry, ridiculous. And I'm really sorry to the people of Warwickshire who have to put up with this guy, because you're probably going to have to put up with him a slightly bit longer than you were hoping, because it's probably likely this guy is going to be made leader. I would not be shocked if this guy is made leader. It would not shock me. And then you've got an 18-year-old going on 19-year-old in charge of a £400 million budget of a county council and 5,000 staff. What could possibly go wrong? So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button down below. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.